So in today's session, we are going to discuss about Lightning Web Component Framework, and we have to understand what exactly Lightning Web Component and what is the use. Why should we go for Lightning Web Components in Lightning Framework, especially in Salesforce, and what kind of benefits that we have upon using this Lightning Web Components when compared with Aura Framework, which we will see practically, and how to build the Lightning Web Components, what benefits are available with this Lightning Web Components, and once a Lightning Web Component has been built, where we can use this Lightning Web Component, we'll see, and what kind of development tools are the integrated development environments that we need to use to build this Lightning Web Component, and what are the various resources or the files that we're using upon building a Lightning Web Component. That means Lightning Web Component bundle, we'll see one by one. Now, so in the previous sessions, already we have discussed about the Lightning Component history. We have discussed about the Lightning Framework history in the previous session. Like initially, Salesforce introduced the Force.com platform in the year 2000. In the year 2000, Salesforce introduced Salesforce CRM. Along with that CRM, they have introduced a platform also that is called as Force.com platform. Salesforce introduced a platform called as Force.com platform in the year 2000. So while introducing this Force.com platform in the year 2000, we have only Apex programming, okay, only Apex programming, and then we are having S controls, okay, S controls. We don't have Visual Force programming during that time. Visual Force programming is not available in Force.com platform in the year 2000 because that already we know Salesforce.com is an organization which has started in March 1999. Salesforce.com is an organization which has started in March 1999 by a person called as Mark Benioff. Mark Benioff. He is the CEO and the founder of this organization. Salesforce.com is an organization which has started in March 1999 by a person called as Mark Benioff, and he is the CEO and the founder of this organization. So now, while starting this company in March 1999, he has started the company with the 2 employees. While starting this company in March 1999, he started this company with the 2 employees in US in a 2-bedroom apartment. He has started this company with the 2 employees in US in a 2-bedroom apartment. And from there onwards, they're purely concentrating on cloud services. They purely offers cloud services to the customers. From the beginning of this organization, they're offering purely cloud services to the customers on rental basis. Now, then what cloud services offered by Salesforce? Okay, now let's see. That already we know that here. How can we access these cloud services? Cloud services can be accessible without having any installation in our local device. Without having any installations in our local device, just with the help of browser and the internet access, we can access these cloud services. So cloud services doesn't require any prerequisite software in our local device. It doesn't require any prerequisite hardware configuration. Directly, we can access these cloud services from any device by using the browser internet access. So cloud applications or the cloud services can be accessible by using any device, whatever we have in the real world. Like it may be desktop, it may be laptop, it may be a mobile, or a smartphone, or a tab, any device, whatever we have, which is having browser and internet access capability, that device is enough to access your cloud applications. Now, so now Salesforce provides 3 classifications of cloud services. Like they're offering SaaS, and they're offering PaaS, they're offering infrastructure. These are the 3 classifications of cloud services offered by Salesforce. Software as a service, platform as a service, infrastructure as a service. That means they're offering software as a service. That means on rental basis. Platform on rental basis. Infrastructure on rental basis. So Salesforce offers all these 3 classifications of services to the customers on rental basis. So the customer can access these features just with the help of browser and the internet access capability. Browser and then internet access. In order to access this cloud services, just we need a browser and the internet access capability. We don't want any other installations. Directly by using the browser and internet access, we can access these cloud services offered by Salesforce. Now, as part of this SaaS, Salesforce introduced Salesforce CRM in the year 2000. In the year 2000, Salesforce introduced the Salesforce CRM, okay, as part of SaaS, which can be used to store our customers' data. In order to automate your sales, service, and the marketing related data, we are using the help of Salesforce CRM. This process already you know, because during the configuration features, we have discussed Salesforce CRM. how to use, how to customize. Now, so by using this as Salesforce CRM, we can able to build our own CRM application. That means we can automate our sales data, service data, and the marketing data. Now, then what about the other customers? For example, we are into banking, finance, insurance, healthcare, pharmaceutical, e-commerce, supply chain. We are into some different domains. In that case, what about us? Do we have any applications from Salesforce which we can use to automate our business processes? No. We don't have that here. We don't have banking applications, finance applications, insurance application from Salesforce. Then, in this case, do we have at least a platform from Salesforce which we can use to build our own applications based on our business needs? Yes. In this case, Salesforce offers a platform also. Salesforce offers a platform that is called as Force.com platform, which is purely a cloud platform which they have introduced in the year 2000. Salesforce introduced the Force.com platform in the year 2000. So now what is the use of this Force.com platform? Force.com platform is used to build our own custom applications. In order to develop our own custom applications, we can use the help of Force.com platform. So by using this Force.com platform, we can develop banking applications, finance applications, insurance, healthcare, pharmaceutical, e-commerce, supply chain, construction, consulting, education, any kind of application we can build on the cloud. So we no need to install anywhere inside of a local device. The application will be running inside the Salesforce server. Now, while introducing this Force.com platform in the year 2000, Salesforce provides two features over there. First one, Apex programming. Second one, S controls. In the year 2000, in Force.com platform, we have only two features are available: Apex programming. Second one, S controls. No Visual Force programming. Visual Force programming has introduced by Salesforce in the year 2007. Till then, we don't have Visual Force. Now, so now here in this case, we are having this Apex programming and the S controls. So now Apex programming is especially designed for the business logics. Okay, Apex programming is for business logic. That means the backend. This is for the backend. S controls is for front end. That means user interfaces. Front end. So now, in this case, by using this S controls, we can design your own user interfaces with attractive look and feel, whatever you want. Now, so that here, as part of this S controls is purely built upon Ajax toolkit. Okay, S controls is purely built upon Ajax toolkit. That means asynchronous JavaScript and XML. Ajax stands for asynchronous JavaScript and XML, so which is purely built upon HTML, JavaScript, and the CSS. Okay, it's purely the Ajax toolkit is purely built upon HTML, JavaScript, and the CSS, cascading style sheets. Now, so now here in this case here, this HTML is for to place the required visual appearance controls, like to design your own screens, whatever the input controls are required, whatever the output controls are required, like as text boxes, buttons, checkboxes, pick list controls, all these things. Whatever the visual appearance controls are required, those we can able to design by using HTML. But whenever we are using this HTML tags to place our own visual appearance controls, those may not be having attractive look and feel. Those will not be having rich look and feel. To provide some attractive look and feel, to provide our own custom styles for the visual appearance controls, we are using the help of CSS, cascading style sheets, which is for the making that user interface look like attractive. So it's like as a makeup toolkit. It's like as a makeup toolkit, which is used to do some makeup for my user interface so that it will look like attractive. So we can apply our own background colors, text colors, font, style, size, borders, all these things we can apply with the help of CSS. And then we have JavaScript, which is used to implement the client-side business logics, which will be executing inside the browser level, not in the server side. So in order to perform the operations inside the browser level, we are using the help of JavaScript. Okay, now they're purely using these JavaScript libraries to perform the operations on your object cards. So while introducing this Force.com platform in the year 2000, Salesforce introduced only two features, Apex and the S controls. Apex programming is for backend, and then S controls is for front end part of it. That means which will be executing at the client side. This is for the client side. The Apex is for server side. Okay, these are the two features are available. Now, from there onwards, people have started using Salesforce features. People have started using this Force.com platform to build applications. But during the time, we don't have much developers who are having good technical skills. We don't have much people who are having the computer science background, who are having coding background also. So finding the workforce will be very, very difficult at that time. And that too, understanding this Ajax toolkit is a bit typical. It's very complex to understand. It's a separate third-party toolkit. Ajax is a separate third-party toolkit which we need to install and then we can able to use in order to use that visual appearance controls. So that understanding this Ajax toolkit and then writing the code by using this JavaScript is a bit typical. So for that reason here, Salesforce people got an idea. So now most of the clients are not utilizing our force.com platform because they're facing some difficulty while finding the workforce. Workforce means people. So they're unable to find the developers who are having good technical skills, who is having good knowledge on programming, this so that they can understand Ajax toolkit, they can understand HTML, JavaScript, CSS, and all these things. So for that reason here, instead of using the CS controls, why can't we introduce our own tags, our own web development framework, so that the people can able to design the user interface very easily? Instead of using HTML tags, why can't we use our own custom tags over here? So for that reason, in 2007, Salesforce people introduced the Visual Force programming. So as part of Visual Force programming, they have introduced so many built-in tags over here. Salesforce people introduced so many built-in tags, where each and every Visual Force tag name should be prefixed with the keyword Apex, like as Apex page, Apex farm, page block, section header, and the page block section, command button, command link, page block table. Like that, here we are having so many tags are available, which has been given by Salesforce as part of Visual Force programming in the year 2007. Now from there onwards, people are using the Visual Force programming. So during the time from 2007 onwards, in Force.com platform, we have two programming languages, Apex and Visual Force programming. They have replaced this yes controls with Visual Force programming here. They have replaced this yes controls with Visual Force programming in 2007. So from 2007 onwards, in order to build that application by using Salesforce platform, just we should be aware of Apex programming and Visual Force programming. These two are enough. You no need to use HTML tags, CSS, JavaScript. We no need to be aware of all these things. Just by using this Apex and Visual Force programming, we can develop the application. Clear? Now, in that case, using Visual Force programming is very, very easy, very, very simple. Most of the functionality they have incorporated inside this tags itself. Whatever the tags has been given by Salesforce as part of this Visual Force programming, these tags are having so many built-in functionalities inside it. Depends upon our requirement, we can use them by using the respective properties. Each tag will have its own properties. Just you can use the property in order to use it. Now, so many functionalities have implemented inbuilt as part of this Visual Force page tags. Now, from there onwards, so many people have started using this Visual Force programming. Coding also reduced over here, so people are also very happy. Even though they're having little bit of knowledge of programming, they can manage their jobs. From there onwards, so many clients showed interest to use Salesforce from there onwards. So Salesforce is having huge demand in the market. So many customers have started using cloud services from Salesforce. They're very much happy with the Force.com platform, like Apex programming and the Visual Force programming. They have built so many applications. Now, so from there onwards, from 2010 and 2012 onwards, 2010 or 2012 onwards, usage of mobile apps are very, very high. Usage of mobile apps are very, very high. Everybody is started using mobile apps. If you want to do bank transactions, mobile app. To reserve the movie ticket, mobile app. To reserve the travel ticket, mobile app. To make the payment of utility bills, mobile app. Everything we can perform through mobile apps. People are not using laptops and desktops. They are not using browsers. Each and every functionality they're accessing with the help of mobile apps. Now, in this case, when coming to the Salesforce, they have identified that some drawbacks inside this Visual Force programming. They have identified few drawbacks in Visual Force programming. What are those drawbacks? Now let's see. What are the user interfaces we have designed by using Visual Force programming? These are not mobile-friendly user interfaces. These are not mobile-friendly. These are not mobile-friendly. That means whatever the user interfaces you have designed by using Visual Force programming, those user interfaces you can access by using browser and internet access. But you can't access these user interfaces through mobile apps. Through mobile app, you can't access this user interface. That is the first difficulty they have faced. Because Visual Force user interfaces are not mobile-friendly interfaces. This is the first problem. We can access these user interfaces by using browser and the internet access, but we can't access them through mobile apps. This is the first problem. Second problem is, in Visual Force, Salesforce people has identified some performance issues. Because Visual Force pages are purely executing inside your Salesforce server. So whenever we are accessing any page, whenever we are performing any operation, always a request will be going to the Salesforce server. So then always it is putting some more load on the server. So now it will be taking some more time to process, so that they have identified some performance issues on the Visual Force programming. So from Visual Force programming, Salesforce people has identified the performance issues, because it will take more time to process the Visual Force page by the Salesforce server, because here it is putting some more load on the server, so that here it is taking more time to process, which will impact on the application performance. These are the two major drawbacks over here. In this case here, when coming to the Salesforce, they got an idea, why can't we design a separate user interface? Why can't we design a separate user interface which can be used to access my application through mobile app also? So that here, they don't want to continue to use this Visual Force programming anymore. They want a replacement for Visual Force. So now in that case, in 2014, Salesforce people introduced Lightning Experience. It's not Lightning Framework, it's Lightning Experience. That means, what do you mean by this Lightning Experience? Now let me explain. In this case, whatever the Salesforce CRM application they have built in the year 2000, now this is a complete CRM application they have migrated to Lightning Experience, so that they can make this application can be accessible through mobile apps also. Not only accessing the application through the browser and internet access, they want to make the Salesforce CRM application also to be accessible from mobile app. So that here, Salesforce introduced Lightning Experience in the year 2014. As part of Lightning Experience, they have converted the complete CRM application into Lightning Experience so that you can access the CRM application from desktop applications also and the mobile apps also both. To make the application can be accessible from both the desktop and the mobile app, they have introduced Lightning Experience. Okay, now, so now from there onwards, people have started using Salesforce CRM application through the mobile app also from Play Store or App Store. In Play Store and App Store, we are having Salesforce mobile app is available. Through that mobile app, you can access your Salesforce CRM application. Now, here you can raise a question. Sir, Salesforce introduced Post.com platform in the year 2000. They have introduced Lightning Experience in 2014. That means there are almost 14 years are available here. In these 14 years, so many clients have built their own application by using Apex programming and the Visual Force programming. What about these applications? You have converted your CRM application into mobile compatible. Then what about our applications? We have built so many applications. In these 14 years of time, so many clients has built some thousands of applications by using Post.com platform. It may be banking, finance, insurance, healthcare, pharmaceutical. So many people have built their applications by using Apex and Visual Force. But the problem is these applications are unable to access from mobile app. Then how can we convert my custom applications also to be accessible through mobile apps? So to make the custom applications also accessible through mobile app, Salesforce introduced Lightning component frameworks. When in 2016, Salesforce people introduced Lightning component frameworks. Okay, Lightning component framework. So now in 2016 they have introduced Lightning component framework that is called as ARA framework. Okay, ARA framework. Lightning framework, ARA framework, both are same. Okay, both are same. Lightning framework, ARA framework, both are same. No changes over here. Just the people are going to be using different terminology to refer that. Now, in 2016, Salesforce introduced a Lightning component framework called as Lightning framework that is also called as ARA framework. Now, this ARA framework is purely built upon ARA programming. ARA programming here. ARA is a third-party programming language which is an open source, which is available in the internet and free. So it's not paid, it's open source. It's freely available in the internet. So in order to make the user interfaces to be look like attractive, in order to make the user interfaces to be accessible through mobile app, Salesforce introduced Lightning framework that is called as ARA framework, which is purely built upon ARA programming, which is an open source programming which is available in the internet and free. Now, through this ARA programming, we can design our own customized user interfaces. That means through this ARA programming, they're replacing Visual Force programming. So they don't want to use Visual Force programming, they want to use purely ARA framework. So by using this ARA framework, we can design your own customized user interfaces which can be accessible through mobile apps as well. So to make this a Salesforce user interfaces to be used accessible from the mobile platform, they are going to be using the help of ARA programming. So now in 2016, they have introduced this ARA framework. In 2016, they have introduced this ARA framework, which is purely built upon ARA programming, which is an open source, which is freely available in the internet. Salesforce people has adopted this ARA programming, and then they have built this Lightning framework. From there, they keep on promoting to use this Lightning framework to build your application so that your application can be accessible from mobile apps also and from the desktop applications as well. But the problem is, in ARA framework, they have introduced heavy coding. They have introduced huge coding over here. If you want to develop the functionalities by using this Lightning framework, you have to write some huge lines of code. But till now, Salesforce is more popular. Why? Coding part is very, very minimal in Salesforce. Coding part is less because most of the functionalities we can implement through configuration by using some mouse clicks. So only some complex functionalities we are building here. In this case, when coming to the Lightning framework, they have introduced some huge coding during the time. Okay, the clients are facing difficulties to find the workforce. Upon finding the workforce, upon finding the developers, they're facing the difficulty. They're not finding the much developers. Okay, in order to work on the projects. Now, here in this case here, when coming to the Salesforce people, they got an idea. So why can't we introduce our own framework? Why can't we introduce our own framework? Because right now ARA framework is purely built upon a third-party programming that is ARA. Right now this is free. This is available in the internet. All our frameworks and applications are purely relied on ARA programming. Suppose in future, if ARA programming has been deleted from the internet, in future, if the ARA programming has been made it as paid, then in that case, we need to make some payment to that ARA programming organization. So it will be a huge expensive process for me. If I'm not making the payment, all our customers, our applications, everything will be getting affected. So for that reason, we don't want to rely on any third-party framework. We want to build our own frameworks where we can reduce the coding part. So that here in 2018 December, Salesforce introduced their own customized framework that is called as LWC, Lightning Web Component Framework. Okay, Lightning Web Component Framework, which they have introduced in 2018 December. So LWC is the own framework of Salesforce. LWC is the own framework of Salesforce, which is purely built upon latest web stack. Latest web stack, that is 2019 web stack. It is purely built upon 2019 web stack, so which is providing more functionalities built in. More features are available as part of built-in, just we can able to use them directly, and the very few functionalities we can able to implement by using our own custom programming itself. So that here they have introduced Lightning Web Component Framework in order to design your own customized user interfaces. Clear? Understand the concept here? Now let's see. Observe the scenario here. From the beginning to till now, from 2000 to till 2024, Apex programming is common. Apex is common. Everywhere we are having Apex programming. In 2000 also we have Apex programming. Here also we have Apex programming. In 2014 also, 16 also, 18 also we are having Apex programming. That means backend is common. Only front end that keep on changing over here. Initially, they're having yes controls. It has been replaced with Visual Force. Visual Force has been replaced with Lightning Experience. This Lightning Experience has been replaced with Lightning Framework. That means SARA framework. This SARA framework has been replaced with Lightning Web Component framework. Okay, by using LWC framework. This is the history of the various of frameworks which has introduced by Salesforce. Okay, understood the concept here? Now, so now this concept already I have explained during the Tara programming over here. As of now, okay, we are having 23 sessions on ARA programming. So there I have explained this complete process pictorially during the time. Okay, now, so now let's see in this case. So first of all, we have to understand what exactly a Lightning framework. We have to understand what exactly Lightning framework, what we can do with the help of this Lightning framework. Now let me explain. Then we will see. So now what exactly this Lightning ARA framework, what exactly the Lightning Web Component framework, what is the basic difference between these two? We'll see one by one. Okay. Now, so basically, Lightning framework is the user interface framework. Lightning framework is nothing but the user interface framework, which is used to design your own customized user interfaces with attractive look and feel with responsive functionalities. Okay, so Lightning framework is a user interface framework which is used to design attractive user interfaces with responsive functionalities here, which can be used to perform certain operations inside your application. Inside the application, if you want to perform certain operations, whatever the user interfaces are required, those user interfaces we can able to design by using this Lightning frameworks. Now, in this case, whenever we are designing these user interfaces, whenever we are designing this kind of functionalities over here, so now when coming to the Lightning framework, it is purely supporting component-based programming. It's purely supporting component-based programming. It is purely supporting component-based programming. Then what do you mean by this component-based framework? Component-based means what? Component-based. That means inside this application, whatever the functionality you are going to implement, whatever the feature you are going to implement, each feature we are implementing in the form of a component. Okay, every functionality we have to implement in the form of a component here. Now, let me explain. I'm going to my Salesforce arc. I'm going to classic part over here. Let's see. I will show you both. I'm going to the Salesforce classic. Now in this classic part, I'm having so many user interfaces. For example, I have account object. Now, as soon as once you click on this account object here, accounts tab, it provides a tab homepage. This is the tab homepage. Tab homepage. In this tab homepage, we're having so many functionalities are available. Now we are having enhanced service TV control. We have recent records section. We have reports section, tools section, go to reports section, like that various options. Now my client requirement is my client asked me to customize this user interface where they don't want this tools section. On this accounts objects tab homepage, they don't want this tools section. What can I do? I want to remove this option. I want the complete user interface as it is, but without this tools section. Do we have any possibility to customize this user interface to remove only this particular section from the page layout? No, we don't have any such option. Whatever the home page that we have, this entire home page is like as a fixed component here. It's a fixed page. It's a static user interface which can't be customizable. Which can't be customizable. We can't remove some options. We can't add some more options on this tab home page. It won't support. So we can't remove these options here. If you want to remove this tools section, then what we can do? We have to redesign this whole complete user interface exactly with the same look and feel without this tools options here. Without this tools option, the complete user interface we need to redesign. That is the only solution. We don't have any other alternative options. Okay. Now, like for example, simple concept here. Assume that I'm having this laptop. If the entire laptop has been made it as a single part, then in that laptop, if a small feature is not working, we need to replace the whole laptop again. Okay. Now, so now in this case, what happened? We have to reinvest the amount to buy a new laptop again. It will be very difficult. For that reason here, whatever the features are available in the laptop, they have divided the features to various small components. Like screen, separate component. Keyboard, separate component. Mouse pointer, separate component. Motherboard, separate. SMPS, separate. Hard disk, separate. Processor, separate. Like that here, they're going to be building all these functionalities into separate component that they're going to be assembling together to make it as a laptop. Like the similar way here also, upon building your own customized user interfaces, don't make this whole user interface like as a static, that means fixed. Make them as a dynamic. Make them more usable and then more customizable. For that reason here, instead of designing this whole functionality as a single page, we are going to be using the help of an architecture called as SPA architecture. SPA architecture. So now Lightning framework is purely supporting SPA architecture. SPA architecture means a single page application architecture. Single page application architecture. That means this whole user interface is nothing but a single page. In this single page, we can place a different components over. We can place different components. Inside a single page, we can place that multiple components. That means instead of designing the whole user interface as a single page, we can divide this user interface into the various small reusable pieces that each piece is called as a component. That's what when you go to the Lightning framework, switch it to Lightning experience. Let's see. In this case here, when you go to that home tab or anything here, any application also, I'm opening a record here. See, this is one component. This is a separate component. And then this is separate component. And this is a separate component. And this is a separate component. Like that, the whole user interface has been divided into various small reusable pieces that is called as component. Then what do you mean by component? Component is nothing but a piece of reusable code. Component is nothing but a piece of, that means a piece of reusable code which contains certain functionalities to perform the operations inside your application. In order to perform certain operations in the application, whatever the feature that we want, develop that feature as a component and then use that component in different places of your application. Because the main purpose of component-based framework is reusability. Develop the component once and reuse it in different places wherever you want in the entire application development. Okay, now let's see. In this case here, that's what, when you go to this Lightning framework, if you want to customize these options, directly we can customize by using mouse clicks. Go to the setup menu, click on edit page. Click on edit page, we can customize. The whole user interface will be visible over here. Here we can customize these functionalities. Depends upon the requirement. If you want to add some more, then we can able to develop some more functionalities also over here. And then we can able to represent it over here. Now, if you want to add some dashboards also, then we can add dashboards also. We can able to add some dashboards also. Depends upon the requirement, we can able to add some dashboards as well. Now, based on your requirement, we can able to customize. If you don't want some option, then you can remove here. If you don't want this a tab, okay, related tab, then just we can able to remove this tab also over here. We can remove this option. We can remove them. If you want some more tabs, then we can add. Depends upon the requirement. If you want to add some more tabs, click on add tabs. All the options are available, customizable by using mouse clicks. This is a more flexibility because here we can arrange the components in the required places wherever you want. If you want to place this component over here, then you can place it over here. If you want to move it back, then you can move it back over here. Based on the requirement, we can customize. So that here, easy to use, easy to customize. So in that case here, as part of this Lightning framework, they are going to purely supporting SPA architecture. They're purely supporting SPA architecture. So that here, when coming to the Lightning framework is nothing but the user interface framework, which is used to design attractive and responsive user interfaces. And the Lightning framework is purely built upon component-based framework, where each functionality should be implemented in the form of small reusable feature that is called as components. Now, component is nothing but a piece of reusable code, okay, which contains certain functionalities to perform certain operations inside the application. Lightning frameworks are purely supporting SPA architecture, where we can design multiple components also. We can place all the components on a single page. So now single page application means what here? We can have a single page, one single user interface. On that user interface, we can place the multiple components also, depends upon the requirement. Once the component has been developed, then we can reuse the component in different places of your application development whenever you want, wherever you want. Now, as part of this Lightning frameworks, Salesforce introduced two frameworks as of now, like as ARA framework, Lightning Web Component framework. Okay, here, understand the concept here? Now, make a note of this one here. What exactly Lightning framework? Lightning framework is a user interface framework. User interface framework, which can be used to design attractive and responsive user interfaces. Responsive user interfaces, which can be accessible by using both the desktop and mobile applications. Which can be accessible by using both desktop and mobile applications. Lightning framework purely built upon component-based framework, where each functionality should be implemented in the form of components. Component is nothing but a piece of reusable code which can be used to perform certain operations inside the application. Once the component has been built, then we can place the component in different places of the application development. Lightning framework purely supports SPA architecture. That is single page application architecture. Like for example, AngularJS. AngularJS is purely supporting SPA architecture. Now, that is, we can design an application, a page, and we can incorporate multiple components on a single page. On a single page, we can able to place multiple components also. Okay, clear up to this one? Now, so now in this case here, let's see now. Salesforce provides two Lightning component frameworks. First one, Lightning framework. This is also called as ARA framework. which they have introduced in 2016. Second one, Lightning Web Component Framework, 2018 December. Lightning Web Component Framework, that is called as LWC. It's a own framework of Salesforce. Okay, now here just we can observe a small difference over here. We have a component. Okay, we have a component. We have web component. What is the difference between a normal component and a web component? There is a major difference between these two. Lightning component framework and then Lightning web component framework. What is the difference between a normal component and a web component? Basically, by using this Lightning framework, that means RF framework, whatever the components that you are going to build, those will be utilized only in the Salesforce platforms only. Okay, these can be accessible only in Salesforce Lightning frameworks only, not from other frameworks. But when coming to the web components are global. Web components are global. Once you are developing the web component by using this Salesforce, this web component we can use in RF framework also. This can be used in LWC also, Lightning Web Component Framework also. This can be used in SAP framework also. This can be used in Heroku platform also. This can be used in SharePoint platform also from Microsoft. SharePoint platform are the SharePoint frameworks. Observe the difference here. Lightning for components are local to Salesforce. Web components are exposing to the other platforms also. This is a major difference. So because in future Salesforce wants to make this Lightning Web Component as an open source. That means they want to develop this Lightning Web Component framework. This Lightning Web Component framework, they would like to make it available to all the people on free. So this Lightning Web Component framework components can be used in Java also, .NET also, SAP also, Heroku also, other places also we can use. Okay, now here in this case, web components specialty is web components are nothing but the web platform APIs. These are nothing but the web platform APIs. So web component is nothing but a collection of web platform APIs which are used to design custom HTML elements which can be used in different platforms also. Like for example, assume that we have HTML programming. Now tell me where we can use HTML. HTML will be using by Java people also, .NET people also, SAP people also, RQL also, Salesforce also, Python also, everywhere the people are using. Now, in this case, like the similar way, so now we need to develop our own web components here. Okay, web components we need to build. These web components we want to make it as accessible from other platforms also. That's what here, when coming to the web component is nothing but a collection of web platform APIs which are used to design custom HTML elements. So whatever the HTML tags that we have in HTML programming, those are called as HTML elements. Now, like the similar way here also, whatever the way we are using HTML tags in your application, similar fashion they can use our components also directly here. So for that reason here, they're using this web component. Web component is nothing but a collection of web platform APIs which can be used to design custom HTML elements. We can develop our own components like as HTML elements here. These can be used in different platforms very well. Okay, so that here, so now this web components can be accessible not only from Lightning framework from Salesforce, we can access that web component from RF framework also, LWC also, Heroku also, SharePoint also, SAP also, in from different platforms, we can use this Lightning web components. That is a specialty over here. Okay, now, so now here in this case, how can we build? As part of this Lightning web components, Salesforce reduce the complete coding part because Lightning web components are purely built upon the latest web stack, that is 2019 web stack. It is purely built upon 2019 web stack where this web stack is providing more functionalities by default. It provides more functionalities by default because in terms of security, in terms of rendering mechanism also, it is providing more security by default over here. That's what here most of the people are going to be referring to use Lightning web component frameworks. So that here it is purely built upon 2019 web stack which provides more functionalities as part of JavaScript because 2019 web stack is purely built upon the latest HTML programming and then modern JavaScript. Modern JavaScript means the latest version of JavaScript, that is JS6, JavaScript version 6 onwards. It's purely built upon latest version of JavaScript 6. Now, in JavaScript 6, we are having so many advanced features are available over there. During our JavaScript concept, I told you a few functionalities also. Like for example, during the JavaScript concept, I have given this information. So now during this JavaScript, in latest versions, we have introduced arrow functions also here. How to implement these arrow functions, we have discussed. And then we have discussed during that arrays, we have discussed about the split syntax. During that arrays, I have discussed about a concept called as split syntax. Now, split syntax is also in order to combine the two arrays into a single array, we are using this split syntax which is available from ES6 version onwards. ES means what? ECMAScript. ES means ECMAScript. ECMAScript means a JavaScript. So the old name of JavaScript is ECMAScript. Okay, the old name of JavaScript is ECMAScript. Later they have changed the name from ECMAScript to JavaScript over here. So the latest version is JavaScript version 6. We are having few more latest versions also, JavaScript version 7, 8, 9 also we are having right now. So now here in this case, when coming to the Lightning web component framework, it is purely built upon the latest version of JavaScript. It is purely built upon latest version of JavaScript, that is JavaScript version 6, where most of the functionalities has been given by the Lightning framework by default to you. Very few lines of code we are going to write. So that here coding part is very minimal and very easy to use when coming to this Lightning Web Component framework. That's what here, if the coding part is reduced, then we can able to find more workforce also very easily. Finding the workforce will be very, very easy. Because here also in the Lightning Web Component framework, we are using the help of Lightning Component, HTML, CSS, and the JavaScript. Apex is common, but we are not using Visual Force programming. We are using the purely Lightning Web Component frameworks, where these can be accessible from mobile platform also and from desktop also. Here from both the places we can make it accessible. That facility is available. So that's what here Lightning Web Component frameworks are providing more security than ARA framework. It provides more security than ARA framework, and along with that, Lightning Web Components are providing more security, more faster performance than ARA framework. ARA framework will be taking more time to process, but Lightning Web Components are going to providing faster performance than ARA, because in ARA it is purely built upon the old web stack, that is 2014 web stack. Based on the 2014 web stack they have implemented, so more lines of code we have to implement. But this is purely built upon 2019 web stack, which provides more functionalities by default, so very less lines of code we are going to implement. That means more standards, less preparatory here. Okay, clear? Now, let me do the note points over here. Lightning Web Component. Web Component. Web Component is nothing but collection of web platform APIs, which can be used to design the custom HTML elements to be get references in different platforms. Now, by using web components, we can design our own custom features, that is user interfaces and business logics, and can be referenced in multiple platforms. For example, Salesforce platform and Heroku platform, SAP platform, and SharePoint platform. In different platforms, we can able to make it accessible here. Now, web components can be referenced in the applications same like as HTML elements. Salesforce provides Lightning Web Component framework in 2018 December to be used to design the custom web components. Now, in this case, whenever we are building these functionalities here, in the front end part, okay, we are going to be using HTML and CSS, and then we are using JavaScript plus Apex. Now, these two are for user interface. In order to design the user interface, we are using these two, HTML and the CSS. This JavaScript is for client-side business logic, which will be executing within the browser. Client means browser. Now, this is for server-side business logic. So in this case here, as part of this Lightning Web Component development here also, we are having this two business logics are available: client-side business logic, server-side business logic here. That already told you during our ARA programming concept. I have explained the MVC architecture here. Classic MVC, Lightning MVC, both architectures I have explained over here. If it is a classic MVC as part of Visual Force, you will be having straightforward. We are having the Apex programming as a server-side controller, and then your Salesforce object will be the database over here. Now we are having only server-side controller. But when you go to that Lightning MVC, we are having two controllers are available here. First one, we have client-side controller, which will be implemented by using JavaScript. Second one, server-side controller, which will be implementing by using Apex programming here. So as part of this Lightning components here, it may be ARA component, it may be Lightning Web Component also. We can able to place your own user interfaces. We can apply your own business logics also over here. Now we can use the client-side controller by using JavaScript, and we can implement server-side controller by using Apex programming. Now, here these are text boxes and buttons. We are not using HTML based. We are using Lightning Web Component frameworks. Now, as part of Lightning Web Component framework, we are having so many components are available. So these components we can use to design our own user interface. So in this case, as part of Lightning framework, everything will be called as a component, like text box component, checkbox component, button component, text box list box component. But when you go to this whole screen, this is also called as component. Okay. Now, the whole registration form also called as component. In this registration form, whatever the visual appearance controls are available, these are also called as components here. So we are having this Lightning Web Component framework. We can use the built-in components to design the user interface. We can write that client-side business logic by using JavaScript, server-side business logic by using Apex programming. Okay. Now let me go to the point. In Lightning Web Component, it uses JavaScript for the client-side controller and Apex programming for server-side controller. Server-side controller. Okay, understood the concept here? So now in this case, as part of this Lightning Web Component framework, we are having these two controllers are available: client-side controller and the server-side controller. Both are available. Client-side controller should be implemented by using JavaScript. Server-side controller should be implemented by using Apex programming. Now, this JavaScript code will be executing inside the client. The client means the browser. Inside the browser in my local system only it will execute, but this Apex programming code will be executing inside your Salesforce server. Okay, so whenever we are performing certain operations, if the operations are very, very simple, then don't send the request to server. Don't put some load on the server. Don't make a server trip. We can perform those operations within the browser itself. Suppose if it is a complex functionality, if it is really required to connect to the database, then we can make a request to Apex programming. That's what here, when you go to this Lightning Web Component framework, always upon after entering the data, when you click on this save button, request will go to the client-side controller. Now the client-side controller will perform certain operations. It will send the response back. Suppose if it really requires to connect to the database, then upon click on save button, it will go to that client-side controller. Then client-side controller will go to that server-side controller. It will perform the operations inside the database. It will get the response back. Response will be sending back to the client-side controller. Now client-side controller will be collecting the response. It will storing the response inside that client-side database that is called as helper, and then it will be sending the response back to that user interface. Suppose in future, if the user click on the save button again, then it will be going to the client-side controller. It will collect the response from client-side database. It will be displaying directly. That means we can avoid one server trips also over here. So that don't put some more load on the server. Okay, now here we can reduce the number of server trips automatically. We can improve the application performance as well. Okay, now let's see benefits. Benefits of Lightning Web Component. The first benefit is Lightning Web Components provides more faster performance than ARA framework. Now, Lightning Web Component framework provides more security, okay, more security for the component and advanced browser compatibility. Advanced browser compatibility. LWC components can be referenced in any other platforms like ARA framework, SAP platform, SharePoint platform, Heroku platform, etc. Lightning Web Component uses JavaScript at the client side and Apex programming at the server side controller. Now, it is very easy to use. It is very easy to use. It is very easy to use inside your application development. Now, finding the workforce is very easy. Each web developer can learn LWC framework very easily. Each web developer can learn LWC framework very easily because generally web developers are purely working on web application development. It may be Java, .NET, wherever. There also, when you go to the web developers, they're purely designing the user interface through HTML, JavaScript, CSS they're using. Here also we have the same, but only Apex programming. If they know Apex programming, directly they can work on Salesforce like Web Component framework. So finding the workforce is very, very easy here. Seventh one, it provides more security by using Lightning Locker services. It is providing more security by using Lightning Locker services. With the help of a feature called as Lightning Locker service, it is providing more security for your Lightning components. Whatever the web components that you are going to build, okay, for those Lightning web components, it is providing more security over here with the help of Lightning Locker services. Okay, these are the various benefits that we have upon using this Lightning Web Component framework. Okay, clear? Now, then where to use this Lightning Web Component, how to design this Lightning Web Components, we'll see in tomorrow's session. In tomorrow's session, we are going to discuss about where to use, and then we'll see the functionality of tools, development tools. What tools we have to use to build the Lightning Web Component, and then tomorrow we'll see the Web Component development, Lightning Web Component bundle. We'll see the Lightning Web Component bundle here. What exactly Lightning Web Component bundle? What kind of resources are available in this Lightning Web Component bundle? We'll see in tomorrow's session. Okay. Now, During the ARA programming, I have given this ARA programming, that means ARA component bundle. There we have discussed in the ARA component here. In ARA components, we are having that 8 files are available here. In this ARA component bundle, we have 8 files, like component file, controller file, helper file, style, documentation, renderer, design, SVG. But when you go to the Lightning Web Component framework, you will be having only 3 files will be available here. You will have a controller file, you will have a style file, sorry, you will be having the template file, you will be having a metadata file. Metadata and then controller. Only 3 files will be available here. Then what exactly the template file, how it look like, what is metadata file, controller file, we'll see one by one. What kind of functionalities we need to write in each and every file, we'll see with the practical use cases. Okay. Then how can we build this Lightning Web components, we'll see from tomorrow onwards one by one. For that one, we have to use the help of a tool called as Visual Studio Code Editor. Then how to install the VS Code Editor, I have explained during the JavaScript concept over here. Okay, if required, I will repeat the topic as well over here, or else I will share the video how to install that. Okay, because without that VS Code Editor, we can't build Lightning Web components. That is must ensure. Okay, thank you. Thanks for your time. So let's meet on tomorrow at same time, and then tomorrow we'll see the how can we use that Lightning Web components, where to use, what development tools we have to use, and how can we build, what is the Lightning component bundle architecture, what files are available, everything we'll see in tomorrow's session. Okay, thank you all.
This conference will now be recorded.